Kaizen, or continuous improvement, is the Toyota way. The company builds something, then spends years, sometimes decades, improving it. It's one reason why the Big T has such a reliability reputation. But at some point, things just get old. Engineers have found countless ways to make vehicles better in the last 10 years. A new day has finally come for Tundra. Designed, engineered, and built in the U.S., Generation 3 goes up against Ford F-150, Chevy Silverado, GMC Sierra, Ram 1500, and Nissan Titan.
An all-new Tundra has been a long time coming. The architecture under the current generation dates back to 2006. That's quite a run.
And of course, we're here in San Antonio on purpose. It is not an accident that we're here.
Toyota has brought us to San Antonio, Texas, near where Tundra is manufactured, to show off the new truck that will be available in December of 2021. It gets a new base engine.
It is a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. This core engine makes 8 horsepower and 78 pound-feet of torque more than the current Gen 5.7 V8.
The V8 is gone. The second, more powerful V6 is a hybrid system shown here, plus that all-new architecture.
We needed a new frame, and we've got a fully boxed frame, so high-strength, fully boxed steel frame.
Something other manufacturers have done for years. Tundra gets an all-new voice-activated user interface that slides over mostly intact from Lexus. There are 6 models, all get different grills. Compared to the outgoing Tundra, 2022s are about 4 inches longer, due in part to safety regulations. Toyota has all sorts of ways for us to experience these pre-production trucks. They're about an hour away from the press conference. Most riders are taking the new model.
It's been years since I've driven a Tundra. Fortunately, they have the current generation here. I'm driving it out to the event. That way, I can tell you just how much improvement there is in the new version. Pretty sure it's a big improvement after all of these years.
Toyota says the Texas plant makes about 100,000 Tundras a year, and I think a quarter of them are roaming the San Antonio streets. The new one draws some eyeballs here.
So I can tell you right off the bat, this is definitely more truck-like than car-like. I have to make micro corrections going down the highway. There is some play in the steering, and the overall driving dynamics are a little bit on the floaty side. We now have a baseline.
Remember, I haven't driven the new Tundra yet. Until I do, Ram's the one to beat in class for driving dynamics. At the event, there's an awesome cutaway.
Completely, everything all new.
And it shares an architecture with Land Cruiser?
It shares the architecture with Land Cruiser.
The fully boxed frame might be the most impressive part of the new Tundra. This long rail is made up of multiple grades of high-strength steel that's laser-welded together in a new process. It's for strength where it's needed the most. Why go to all that trouble?
10%. It's 10% less mass, less weight compared to our current generation, but 20% stronger.
Rear leaf springs have been replaced with a multi-link outboard-mounted coil spring setup. In front, it's independent double wishbone.
The other item that we look at from the frame side is the frame width at the back half, the back end of the vehicle has been widened. This also helps us for our suspension layout, but also gives a very strong, stable platform.
Let's talk powertrain. The twin-turbocharged iForce 3.5-liter V6 will be hitting showrooms first. This base power plant makes 389 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. On startup, the fully digital gauge cluster found on higher trims rotates through 5 national monuments. None of them are located in Tundra areas, by the way. There's an all-new 10-speed transmission that can be manually shifted on the console and a limited slip differential. With 4-wheel drive, Tundra can tow up to 12,000 pounds, depending on configuration. For the first time, there are drive modes. It's available with adaptive variable dampers and rear-leveling air suspension. Let's go.
All right, first up, I'm driving the standard iForce engine, not the hybrid. This is tucked into a 1794 edition, which is the fanciest model. Do you know where the 1794 moniker came from? It's the ranch that the truck plant was built on. Right out of the gate, Toyota has pointed us to this dirt road of sorts. It's got ruts and such, so you can really tell the difference between this suspension and the outgoing truck. This one glides over a lot easier. The other one kind of chattered. Much better.
It's the same road I drove in on, easy to feel the improvement. That's just for starters.
Okay, let's get off this dirt road and get onto some pavement, because that's where Tundras will spend most of their time, right? Let's check out acceleration. Nice! Very smooth.
The twin-turbo V6 borders on luxury car refinement, and the way it moseys on down the road?
As you might expect, the driving dynamics of this generation Tundra are significantly better than the outgoing model. It goes down the highway straight and true, no micro corrections. The steering is much more direct. It doesn't float around, much more buttoned down.
The combination of improved structure and suspension plus a new electronic power steering rack pays big dividends. Where the outgoing Tundra felt its age, this one is competitive with Chevy and Ford. I'd need to drive them back to back. I still give Ram the advantage. It's the most car-like of the bunch if memory serves me right.
There's a hint of turbo whistle when you floor it. And a decent growl, not V8 sound, but it's not half bad. Overall, it's very refined.
And by that, I mean smooth.
In passing maneuvers, the 10-speed is a little reluctant to downshift in regular mode. Throw it into sport mode, it is much more responsive.
With four-wheel drive, Toyota is estimating an average fuel economy rating of 19 miles per gallon. Add 1 mpg for rear drive.
That's pretty good fuel economy for a full-sized pickup, and I asked the Toyota folks on hand what the fuel economy for the iForce Max powertrain would be. That's the hybrid, and they didn't say anything. They were very coy, saying, well, you know, we would think that it would increase both power and efficiency. But, you know.
That second power plant is dubbed iForce Max because Max sounds more manly than hybrid. The twin-turbo 3.5-liter is augmented by an electric motor that, by its lonesome, makes 48 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. There's a total of 437 horses and 538 pound-feet. It's my experience that the V6 doesn't always kick on at start, but it will after a bit. Now, about the hybrid system.
The difference between our hybrid that's in our next-gen Tundra and our traditional hybrids that we have in Prius is the Tundra is now a parallel system. So it's directly in line, connected to the back half of our engine and sandwiched between the engine and the transmission itself. We can now directly drive through the transmission to the back wheels or to the front wheels, depending on what the torque need or torque demand is for the customer. Priuses or other hybrid vehicles are a series system. So we'll have a motor and then a generator separately to do regen and also driving. This is compacted together and then directly coupled with the engine. So we can add the power of the V6 and the power of the motor generator at the same time for the customer's benefit.
All right, I just have a moment in the iForce Max hybrid powertrain. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's not going to be available until around the summer of 2022. But I can tell you this, it pulls away on electric very smoothly, and then the gas engine feathers in almost imperceptibly. This is very smooth, very refined, and it might be the powertrain to get. If you don't need a pickup right now, patience.
I'll do more with the Max once it's in production, and I'll probably grab a standard iForce version to do a more comprehensive breakdown of the Tundra. I had about 6 hours with the trucks in total, not as much time to shoot the cabin as I'd like. The 1794 here, that's based on the Platinum, gets a different colorway and is a serious upgrade from the outgoing interior. I'm still giving the edge to Ram, and I haven't seen the new cockpit treatment that the GM trucks desperately needed. Most buyers will be going with mid-trims like SR5, and this limited, materials look par for the class, a little plasticky, but I'll wait for production Tundras for final judgment. There's a good amount of storage in the doors. The lower sections are on the shallow side. Some trucks get dual glove boxes. Tundra goes with a single. Wireless charging is an option that pairs well with standard wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The center console has a lot of dividers that will help with organization. The big news is a modern user interface, much the same as the one in the Lexus NX, though it lacks two controllers that would be here. I had no time to shoot it, and my camera angle is obviously awful. A voice-based system. I'll link to the story I did about the Lexus version at the end of this video.
This is the largest of the two cabs, the Crew Max. I'm 5'9" and have plenty of knee, leg, and foot room. 3 burly construction workers will fit back here. I will say though, headroom a little bit on the tight side, maybe because of the sunroof.
Plenty of power options to charge electronics, plus a little bit of storage and adjustable vents. The same pockets found up front are here as well, and if that's not enough, both seat backs get pockets. This vent tells you this is the iForce Max Hybrid, and the battery needs to go somewhere. Go with the standard iForce, and this space is much flatter when the seats are tilted up. That's for people that'll use it for locking up valuable stuff they haul. And behind the seat backs, there's room for tools and a few bag hooks to get organized.
Want a remote locking and opening tailgate? You don't have to buy the fancy Tundra. All of them come with this feature. And there's a solid choice of bed lengths now.
Go with a smaller double cab on SR, SR5, and limited grades, and the choice is 6.5 or 8.1 feet. Crew Max can be had with 5.5 or this 6.5 footer. Lots of slots for cargo management. It's aluminum reinforced composite with a maximum payload of 1,940 pounds. Now that's about 300 more than the standard Titan, some 400 pounds under many Ford, General Motors, and Ram payloads. You all know that this varies depending on configuration. Maverick takes on 1,500. There's no kind of sophisticated tailgate similar to what GM offers. There is towing tech, trailer backup guide system with straight path assist. It was set up to show how Tundra can make you look more adept. Pull forward to straighten everything out, hit reverse, and the system will guide it all back in a true line. Look, Ma, no hands, and no embarrassing jackknifing. My experience wasn't perfect, but I was in a rush, and these are pre-production vehicles. Toyota's Safety Sense 2.5 is standard on all Tundras, and it's very comprehensive.
And for 22, we added a couple new features for Tundra: lane trace assist, road sign assist, and now that we have EPS, we have lane departure alert with steering assist as well. So TSS 2.5 standard on every Tundra that rolls off the line here in San Antonio.
For off-roaders, Toyota submits the Tundra TRD Pro for your approval.
All right, we've got logs.
This video is getting long, so I'm going to break my experience with it out into a separate video. But here's a quick peek at it and some basic info from the Toyota crew.
We've got the cockpit red interior with the Techno camo throughout, and that Techno camo is also on the fender flares. So now we've got multi-terrain select, locking rear differential, and crawl control on Tundra TRD Pro. And we also offer it on an off-road package. If you do an off-road package on an SR5, a Limited, or a 1794, you will also get multi-terrain select, crawl control, and a locking rear.
The 2022 Tundra is a much better pickup now. The laser-welded frame is impressive engineering. We took a tour of the plant outside of San Antonio that welds the sections together. Again, there are multiple grades of high-strength steel that are pieced together to create one long blank. On the finished frame, the incredibly even welds are between these dotted lines. Now, this process was developed with Swiss company Andritz specifically to make this frame, and it's a Toyota exclusive. If you look closely at my iPhone video, you can see that multiple sections are getting lasered into one. It's like a giant printing head. Toyota will sell Tundra on its reliability reputation. We'll see how the new components without the advantage of Kaizen will live up to that. What Tundra doesn't offer are creative options that make Ford, GM, and Ram trucks supremely useful. All of those rigs offer more towing and payload in the proper configuration. I've found the GMC Multi-Pro tailgate to be truly useful. Ford offers a tailgate with iPad holders, a molded-in ruler, and wood clamp receptacles, and there's the built-in generator that famously helped people in Texas during the Great Power Outage. This is just a standard power outlet. Once upon a time, Japanese companies were full of innovation. Since my experience with Tundra was kind of limited with pre-production units, red light, green light is a little bit more conceptual this time around. Green light. Tundra is clearly a much better pickup now in every way. Efficiency, comfort, refinement, and drivability with that new rear coil suspension. Unless there's a screaming deal on the outgoing model, it's the Tundra to buy. The new fully boxed frame is an engineering geek's dream. Stronger and lighter is always a winning combo. With 6 different models, there's a Tundra for nearly everyone. Yellow lights? The new high-tech user interface is an improvement over Toyota's current system. I feel it's a few over-the-air updates away from fully baked. The improved driving dynamics and material quality of the top trim models are instantly noticeable, but check in with RAM if that's your highest priority. There's hope that the more powerful iForce Max will deliver better fuel economy. I hope so. The battery intrudes on backseat versatility. Red light. Pickups are often bought for specific tasks, and the American brands can be outfitted to do heavier lifting when it comes to towing and payload. Know your needs. Creative use solutions like sophisticated tailgates, onboard generators, and payload scales built into the tail lamps are not available. And at 5'9", I found the rear headroom less than generous for a full-sized pickup. But I'm guessing Toyota is just getting started, and some of these demerits could change because, well, Kaizen. Heck, the company hasn't even offered pricing yet this time, but it says that it will be competitive since it plans on boosting production. As always, size up your needs and make sure you pull the trigger on the right machine for the task. The Tundra lineup doesn't fully cover the pickup market, but chances are it'll comfortably meet the needs of most. A production note, I think you folks know that I shoot, write, and edit all my videos. These days, I need to use their exterior running footage on events because most automakers are only allowing one person in a vehicle at a time. They're disinfected once we're done. It's a COVID thing. I shoot everything else, including the GoPro stuff. Jack Holmes from Savage Geese and I were the last to leave the event. And as a video producer, I use interviews and press conference sound bites to break up the monotony of my voice. I grew up in TV as a photog, not a reporter. Being on camera is a necessary evil. I don't just let marketing stuff run. I vet the information given. I'm not perfect, but I try awfully hard to be. That's my first look at the all-new Toyota Tundra. The company feels that they're going to be selling a lot more of these than the outgoing model, which leads me to my fun fact. The previous generation sold around 100,000 copies annually. You got to remember how many pickups Ford, General Motors, and Ram sells. So that really puts sales into perspective. But Toyota says it's not about numbers, it's how they take care of their customers. All right, every Tuesday, a great vehicle review like this. So sign up, subscribe, all right? Thanks. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.